Hi friends, this is Prasad. Today I come up with another interesting video. Before starting the video, firstly I want to thank Mr. Gustav Judek for his amazing content. And this is a recreation of one of his recent posts. So let's go and deep dive into how it was created. First, let's try to understand what this visual will us. And if you see, there are four metrics that I do have and six different periods. So based upon the selection of this period and this metric, we want to display the metric value trend here at this for that particular period. At the same time, it's giving us the 14-day moving average. At the same time, it is showing the value of that particular period and then difference with the previous period. Again, not with the previous year or the same period last year, but the previous period. What does it actually mean by, right? When I am selecting or user selecting 1 week, the previous period is nothing but the previous week of that particular 1 week. If the user is selecting 3 months, the previous period will be the previous 90 days of this particular 90 days. So this is how it will be calculated. So before going into like how it was created, let's try to understand what is how the model is. Here, if you see, I do have one order table, and I've created one date dimension table, and I've created a couple of other tables that we'll discuss a little bit later. And this is very simple model. If you go here, firstly, let's understand what are these metrics. These are very simple metrics. If you see here, I do have 4 different metrics, which is something about total sales, sum of order sales, and count of orders, total number of orders, and profit, and total number of quantity that was sold. And after this, there are some supporting measures that we want to see. Let's go and see them. I want to find what is the maximum sale date. Again, not the maximum date that we have in the date dimension table. It is the maximum sale date. It means what is the maximum date that we do have a sale in our fact table. So how to calculate that? It is very simple. Calculate max of order date. At the same time, I want to remove all the filters from the dim date, which will gives me the maximum date. In this particular order table, the maximum sale date is 30th of July 2024. At the same time, I want to calculate min date also, which will be helpful in creating other measures. So it's simply the same way, calculate min of order date, the same time removing the filters from min date will gives me what is the minimum date from the fact table. So let's go and build from scratch. Like if you see what is this like? Okay, so how we can get these metrics measures as values in the slicer? It's quite simple, right? We need to create a field parameter. How we can create this? Simply go for modeling and then into new parameter and then click field. Again, you can name it as you need, as you want. At the same time, select the measures that you want to give the users to option to select. Simply select the measures that you wanted to have in the parameter or the slicer, and after that, click OK. Again, try to make check this box so that automatically the slicer will get created and you'll have the parameter slicer. But anyhow, I do have that created. I'll go and show you how it looks like. Again, once you click that, you don't need to write this code. It will automatically generates this particular table with this column, and this is the code that will get generated. So if you see this for this particular measure, this is the name and this is the sorting order, right? So this is how it looks. And again, make it as single selection from the visualization settings so that all times only one value will get selected. And after that, like I want to find what is, so based upon the selection, I want to have that calculation in a visualization or a chart. How to get that? Again, creating another measure. Again, this was created using the switch function, and based upon the value selected, right? Again, I just want to use the order, which is a little bit easier to write the code. So based upon the order, like if the order of the selected value from this parameter, right, if that is 0, I want to fetch this particular measure need to be worked. So if that order is 1, this particular measure need to be used. So in that way, like based upon the parameter selection, I am fetching out what measure need to be used in this particular chart. So let's go and find the main measure that we want to use over here. If you see, this is the main measure that we want to show, which is nothing but dynamic result. Again, if you see, I just want to take what is the value or the period that was selected by the user from the time period slicer. If you see, there are 6 different time periods. So you see here, for that selected time period, if you see, I've used a switch function, and I want to fetch what from what date to what date the sales need to be displayed. So for that particular condition, again, up to what date? The end date will be, in this particular case, will be the max date. It means whatever the max sale date is there, that will be the end date. And based upon the user selection, I want to fetch what is the start date. So simply, I've created a switch function. Whenever it is 1 week, from max date, I want to go 6 days back again. 1 week means we all know that is 7 days. But see, already we have the max date, which will not get into the calculation. So max date minus 7 will give the 7 days per year day. So that is all. So always, whenever you want to find 30 days or 90 days, just subtract 1, which will give the date from which that we want to start the calculation. Again, here, if you see, this year will work a little bit different. So I want this year need to work for like it need to be started always from the starting of that year, from the max date. So this is how I want to have it. So for that, very simple, like I want to take the max date and year of that. And after that, like I want to use the date function and create the starting date of that particular max date. Right? Hope you understand. In the same way, right, if you see for all, right, the starting day will be the min date. So when the user select all, I want to show the sales for all the values, not for any particular time period. So this is how this measure was created. At the same time, I want to return a value, again, the selected measure, the measure that was selected from the parameter. Again, just a minute before, I've shown this measure, how it was created. I want to use that measure over here. At the same time, I want to calculate this metric value for this particular period based upon this selection. Means if you see dates between, right, okay, I've taken dates from this date and between the start date, and the max date. So always based upon the period selection, these dates will be given as filter to this calculate, and then for that period only, this particular metric value will get the result for us. This is how it happens. At the same time, we were supposed to show not only the current period sales, but also we want to have a comparison with the previous period. Again, I'm just making sure it's not the same period last year, it's the previous period, right? So let's try to understand. It looks a little bit complex, but again, try to understand. It's very simple, right? Okay. Earlier, from the max date, we have taken, right, if it is 1 week, we have taken 7 days back as a starting date, and then, right, until the max date. If you see from here, right, okay, in this case 1 week, right, okay, right, okay. In our normal result, my max date is 30th, and the starting date will be like 24th. And so what we want to do is, for the previous period, the ending date will be like 23rd. From there, like I want to go 7 days back, and then I want to calculate the start. So it means I'm jumping to previous 7 days. Earlier, I've calculated 7 days sales, and right now I'm jumping back to one more week back, and then for that period, I want to calculate whatever the metric it is. So I've created the end date, which is nothing but the starting date, okay, of the earlier measure, and I want to calculate the starting date, which is nothing but one more period back of the starting date. Simple. But if you see this year function, how it works. So as I said earlier, it will not work as like the previous period, right? So here I want to take it as the last year starting date to the last year max date. It means the last year, 30th June of 2023 in this. So for that, like again, max date, and I want to go to 12 months back, which will gives me a date, which is nothing but last year, same date. From that date, right? Okay, that this will become the end date, and I want to find last year from the max date, and for that year, like I want to find the starting of that year, which is like January 1st of. Hope you understand. For this particular base, like based upon the selections, I want to find the metric value. So which will gives me the previous period. At the same time, whenever it is blank, I want to show 0 value. Hope you understand. And one other tricky point that you want to see in this particular calculation is like all. Like whenever the user select all, right? Okay, I want to show cells for all the values. So for that, like the previous period will not be existed. So to make it value 0, like I've make like min date -1, which will gives nothing, as we don't have any such kind of dates in our order dates. So we'll not get any value, we'll get 0. So right now we got two different values. One is like for this metric, for this period, what is the value, at the same time, what is the previous period value. So it's very simple to find the differences. Simple, right? So again, if you see the difference, right, like a percentage difference, how much the percentage difference, and if you see the difference value, so from current period to previous period, at the same time as I want to show the value, this kind of representation, I've used new code visualization. Right, you see this. For this particular representation, I've used a new code visualization. In that, I've used you see here, I've used a dynamic result, right? Okay, as the main value, which will gives me the main metric, as a reference levels for this, right? I've used two other values as a reference. I've been taken percentage difference as a value, and I've been taken, let's see here, I've taken another measure for details. Again, the one that you're seeing is nothing but the details value and how it was created. Simply, let's go and see how it was created. Very simple. If the difference is greater than 0, I want to have this icon. If this is less than, I want to have this icon. And after that, I wanted to have the percentage in percentage format. So again, I formatted the percentage difference into the percentage and a space, and I concatenated with the value of the percentage difference, how much amount was different, like 3,000, 4,000, whatever, right? Okay. And again, I formatted as I wanted to have a custom string, the value in a custom string format. At the same time, I want to add the symbols based upon whether if it is greater than 0 or not, whether the current period sales is greater than the previous period or not. Based upon that, this icons will get generated, and then I want to concatenate with this value, which will gives nothing but this reference values. At the same time, if you see here, I don't want to show the percentage difference because I already in the values, right? If you see the values transparency has been made 0 because I don't want to have two different values, one here and then other here. I want to have the entire percentage and then difference in one line to make it happen. So the same value that I've been concatenated with the difference number, the percentage and difference, both have been concatenated in this detail measure, not taking them separately. This is the percentage and this is the value, right? I've concatenated in one measure, and then I want to use so that I'll get all the value in one line. At the same time, I don't want to show the percentage again, so I've given transparency to 100, which will makes it transparent, so that the user can able to see only one value. At the same time, right, a couple of settings need to be done over here, right? Okay, conditionally formatting color and background. Simply, you see here, whenever it is greater than, like, okay, this is the color, the red color, and then if it is less than 0, this is the color that I want to use, which is nothing but near to green, near to red colors. And I've used field formatting to simply field value, right? Okay, and I've selected that particular measure, so that based upon the value, it will get a green color at your background. At the same time, the value also will be shown. And when we are using the same value, I just want to make the transparency a little bit low so that the background will be shown a little bit light. Okay, so again, a little bit, right? I've used padding also. I've been changed a little bit as per my needed. And if you see here, the layouts also, right? Okay, call out value, the layouts, we can change this value to make it a little bit near or far from 1 to 1. And we used, let's go and see. Actually, I use the divider in this particular thing. It looks a little bit tricky. Okay, when we want to adjust this value, right? Okay, the value that I've shown, right? Okay. Right, okay, the value that have been shown. Okay, to adjust this, first you need to enable this particular what we call it as divider. To make it enable, like, we need to go to all, and then we need to enable the divider, and then afterwards simply, right, okay, if you wanted to show it, you can show it, or else, like, you can, right, okay, change the color, or we can do like as per our needed. What I've done is, like, for dynamic value, right, okay, divider will not be there. So in the same way, right, okay, if you go for divider, right, okay, so width has been made to 0, so that will not able to see the divider over here, right? So again, I don't want to take too much time over here. So once after this was done, again, this is another measure that I used as a title for this particular uh, chart visual, which is nothing but to see title. So again, I want to find how many days it is, right? Selected period days. This is another selected period days, which will be like, okay, based upon the selected period, like how many days it is. So I've been calculated using the switch function. I've used that in this particular chart title. Based upon that, I've used with some text value previous 7 days, and again formatted the value that we want to show, which is nothing but the previous period value. So that was created. But the interesting thing that you see here, whenever it is 1 week or 1 month, we were able to see values in the columns. But when we go beyond that, it is a little bit difficult to see the column values. So we created a line chart. And it's not like two different visuals that we combined. It's only one visual, which is nothing but a combo chart. If you see here, a combo chart, right? Okay. And here we need to do a little bit tricky things to make it happen. So based upon the period selection, right? Okay, we want to hide the lines, or we want to hide the columns. So how we want to create it? So we want to create two more measures, which is nothing but, if you see here, one is the measure that have been created result for columns. Again, it means this is the measure that I used to show as columns. And then again, this is the measure that I used to show as lines. How it was created. So I'll go here and then show that if my selected value is in, whenever it is like 1 week or 1 month, want to show the result. If it is not that, I don't want to show anything. Simple. I don't want to show anything. So it means whenever selected 1 week, right? Okay, the columns will be displayed. Whenever it is 1 month, the columns will be displayed. And whenever it is not these two values, right? Okay, the columns will get. So at the same time, like whenever we are selecting, the user is selecting 3 months or more than that value, I want to display the lines. So how it was created, very simple, right? Okay, this is another logic. If the selected period from this particular period slicer is like 3 months, this one, then I want to show the result. It means if the value is not in this particular values, but is 1 month or 1 week, I'll not show anything. So I used this particular measure as this line, right? Okay, the spikes that you're able to see, and right, if you see, right, this is the one that I used for columns. Again, at the same time, you might think like, why I've used this dynamic result, which is nothing but the sales. Okay, if we don't use that, again, this particular period will be shown to like entire, like all 4 years. So not to happen that, like we want to use this dynamic result, which is like the main measure that as a line, but anyhow, we will not show anything, right? That will be like completely. And after that, I want to create a 14 days moving average. Again, creating a 14 days moving average is very simple, right? Okay. Firstly, I want to check whether the dynamic result is blank or not. If it is blank, right? Okay. So again, if it is blank, I want to show blank. If it is not, then I want to go for moving average. Simply again, this part is also to make sure that, okay, we'll not get any empty or blank values in this particular chart. Let's go and see like how it was calculated, average X. So I want to go iterate in the table and I want to find the average. So for all the rates, like from mean max date, so again, so minus 13, so whatever the max date of the dim date, right? Okay. From that, I want to go like 14 days back, which is nothing but max date minus 13. Always you need to understand. So again, minus means like it will go back to those many days and we'll get a date. And the difference between that date and the max date will be always 14 days. Because at that point, like okay, this, we should not forget about this. This is an extra date that we do have. So 14 days average period, if moving average that we want to have, like we need to subtract it. That is how we need it. And what we want to do, like for this particular table, like we want to find, right? Okay, whatever the metric that we want to show as an output. So this is the result. So for this, like I want to find the average for this particular period every time, right? So this is how we calculated the 14 days moving average, and we used as another line in this particular understanding, which will gives you the required output that we want to have simply, right? Simple, go for this and select any metric that we want to have and select the period that we want to have. Whenever it is 1 week or 1 month, it will gives in columns. Whenever it is 3 weeks and more than that, it will gives the line. But both the times, like okay, we'll have the moving average. That you can see here, whenever the period is all like at the same time, I will not find any percentage difference. At the same time, like as we don't have any previous period, right? Okay, the same value. You see the previous 1307 days, like it means if you see all the days that we do have sales are like 1307 days. Previous for that, okay, I don't have any sales, I will not able to show. Again, 1 year, okay, from the max day to like 1 year before, this is the sales, and then percentage difference with the previous period, like previous 365 days. Is this one, and then difference is this. This is how you can see the values, and you can change a lot of things according to you, right? Hope you understand, and if you find any difficulty, please comment below so that I can address, right, if I left anything, or else if you found any difficulties in creating this kind of visuals, right? Hope you all like this. If you like this, please like, subscribe, and then please follow me for more such content. I'll come up with another interesting video. Until then, have a very great day. Thank you. Bye for now.